Hi, Ido here, and today I want to talk about a DMing tip I actually got from a book. This one, The 38 Most Common Fiction Writing Mistakes. It's a great book for writers, and I think that as DMs, we are very much like writers. We use stories, we create stories, we use plots, we use NPCs, or sorry, characters. And therefore, I think that this book is actually very good for DMs who want to take their DMing to the next level, if you will. One specific tip here, or a piece of advice that I got, actually transformed my campaigns, and it was the tip is called "Don't wander around in the fog." What it means is basically make sure that you have a clear direction of where you want the story to go, in order to prevent yourself from starting a book, starting it really strong, and then letting it wither away and die because you don't know where the story is going. And I think that for us as DMs, or at least for me, this was a very big problem because I usually started my campaigns and adventures really strong. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I had the story in mind and the adventure in mind. But then, as the campaign progressed on, things started to branch, and I kind of lost control of the story in a sense. And it was very hard to me to give the players a sense of direction, of focus. And usually, after a dozen sessions or so, the campaign basically withered and died, and we killed it and started a new one. And after reading this book, and specifically the advice that the writer is providing regarding story direction, I started using this tip, this advice, and it made my campaigns a lot better, at least in my opinion. I hope my players feel the same. So I want to talk about in this video about the implementation of the tip I got from the book into my campaign. So what I did, or the implementation, is basically goals, setting goals. And when I talk about setting goals, I'm talking in three levels: in a campaign, as a campaign goal; in the adventure level, so we have a campaign, and a campaign is composed of several adventures. So I have goals for campaign, I have goals for each of my adventures, and I actually have goals for a session. And this is the new bit of advice that I want to give you about those session goals. But let's talk for a second about what goals actually give us. Goals give us first, and when I say us, I mean the DM and the group, right? Goals give us a sense of direction. When we have goals, we know where we're headed, and that's a very good thing in a D&D campaign, adventure, or even in the context of a session. Goals give us a sense of progress. When we meet goals, when we reach goals, we feel like we have made a difference. We have progressed from point A to point B. And again, this is a very good thing that should happen in your campaign. When you don't have progress, the story basically is in a standstill, and you don't want that to happen. Another thing that goals provide is a sense of priority, or let's say a set of priorities. If you have several goals, some of them might be more important than others, and then the players need to decide which goal to tackle first. So I think it adds a lot of interest and dynamics into the game when you have those sets of goals. In addition, goals can put some tension into the game. If you have conflicting goals, goals that different players might have different goals, or opposing goals, or NPCs can have different goals. For example, in my current game, we play the Curse of Strahd adventure. The players just arrived Vallaki, which is a town, and we have the burgomaster who wants to obviously lead the town, and we have this noble woman who is opposing the burgomaster. So we have two NPCs with opposing goals, and each of those NPCs try to recruit the players to help meet or reach his or her goal. So goals can create a sense of tension because of opposition. Now, if we look at the recent adventure or the published adventures that Wizards have put out recently, if we look at those adventures, we can see that they have those big overarching campaign goals, right? In Hold of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat, the PCs need to basically prevent Tiamat from manifesting into the material plane. In Princes of the Apocalypse, there's this Temple of Elemental Evil. There is lurking evil there, and the PCs needs to eliminate it. In the Rage of Demons, we have the players' characters stuck in the Underdark. They need to escape and then reveal the world that the demon princes are loose and they need to be defeated. And in Curse of Strahd, we have this big campaign story that the players basically need to escape Barovia and defeat Strahd, the vampire, if they can. So it's easy to see that when we have a campaign, we need to have this big campaign goal. And when I create my own campaign, I actually use those one-liners as the campaign goals. Defeat the dragon that threatens the kingdom, or as I just said, the four goals that the four published adventures have on them. So it's a good thing to write down these goals, those campaign goals, and be mindful of them. We also have adventure goals, right? Campaigns are divided into adventures, or in the books, these are chapters, and each chapter has a goal of its own. Now, it doesn't have to be clearly stated, but it exists. For example, in my Barovia, in my Ravenloft campaign, the players have just escorted Irina Koliana, which is she's the daughter of Barovia Burgomaster. They have escorted her to a town called Vallaki, where she should be safe from the vampire Strahd. This happened over a course of 5 sessions, so we can definitely call it an adventure goal. So again, it should be stated, it could be stated, it's not always stated, and I want to talk about stating goals a little bit later, but we can definitely see that an adventure should and can have goals as this one-liner goal. Escort Irina Koliana to Vallaki. This is an adventure goal. I believe that we should also have session goals. Now, a session is a little bit harder to confine because it depends on how much time you invest in playing and the player's actions, but I do think that we should aim for a session goal. And those goals should be reachable within the confines of that session. It's very important to do so. For example, again, in my Ravenloft campaign, the players had to destroy a coven of hags that they were living in an old windmill called Old Bone Grinder, if I remember it correctly. And this is something I planned for one session. I think it happened during the course of 2, but as I said, it's sometimes hard to make sure session begins and ends exactly the way you wanted it, but I think it's important to have this session goal exactly because the reasons I provided earlier. It gives you focus, it gives the players a sense of direction and a sense of progress. So I think it's important to actually have a session goal. Now, those goals don't matter if the players or the group isn't aware of them, right? So obviously, with a campaign goal and an adventure goal, it's easier to be mindful of them as the DM and as a player. But it's not always so. For example, in the Rise of Tiamat or the Dragonhold Queen adventures, the players didn't realize the campaign goal until they progressed a bit into the campaign. So they did get adventure goals, or if they met an NPC or they met this situation. I think that in the beginning of the campaign they just see a village attacked by a dragon and they rush to help. So even there you can see that we can have those immediate goals to meet and reach. But it's important to note that the adventure goal and the campaign goal aren't very clear right from the beginning all the time. But a session goal should be clear, at least to you as the DM. I think it's very important. If you don't have a goal for the session, then the session is in danger of wandering in the fog, exactly like the book writer meant. Players don't know what to do, you're not sure what to do, and things just doesn't converge into something, and the campaign doesn't move along. So I think that at least for you, you should have that session goal written or in mind. So how should we explicitly tell the players that they have a goal? Again, this is something that I think we should do, and I have basically 4 ways that I try to do it. So first of all, I state goals in the recap. At the beginning of each session, I do a short recap that can go something in the lines of: you agreed to escort Irina Koliana, the daughter of the Burgomaster, to Vallaki, so she can be safe from the Devil's Strahd, and so and so. So the goal is clearly stated at the beginning of the session, and it immediately focuses the players about what they should do in this adventure, campaign, or even session. The next thing that I do to make sure that everybody understands goals is to explicitly state that a goal is met when it's met. For example, when the players destroyed the Coven of Hags in the windmill, I had this scene described to them that it actually involved fire. They burned out the building. So I had this scene of you all stand around the old windmill as it burns, and so you have defeated the Coven of Hags. One escaped, but you have cleared that evil from the face of the earth. Yes, you might have to clean up the mess with that one hag that escaped, but it's a good thing, and you did well. So it's important to state the goal as it was made, because it gives everyone a feeling that something happened, they progressed, they won, or they met that specific goal that maybe they have set for themselves, or maybe I as the DM set for them. But in any way, it's a good thing, so state it. Another way that players can be aware of goals is by using NPCs, and we can do it in 2 ways. One of them is an NPC can give them a goal, which is very much like an NPC give them an adventure or an adventure hook or something to do. So NPCs are a very good way of clearly stating goals. Another way is for an NPC to remind them of a goal that they might have forgotten, right? If we have a session, the player characters agree to escort Irina to Vallaki, and they wander away and head into the forest following, I don't know, a rumor of a lost mine there. It's possible. So maybe on their way they will meet a merchant who will recognize Irina and say, "Oh, you always wanted to go to Vallaki. I see that now you found mercenaries to help you go through this dangerous journey." So this NPC actually states the session, the adventure, or the campaign goal. It doesn't matter, as long as it makes it clear that, listen, you have this goal, do something with it, so the story can move forward. So these are explicit ways for you to use to make sure the players understand their goals. But I think that during prep time, we as DMs should always be mindful of the campaign, the adventure, and the session goals, and write them down if we need to. When you are creating your next session or adventure or campaign, make sure that you have goals set for each phase of the campaign. If it's a campaign one-liner, an adventure one-liner, or a session goal. And again, we can have many goals running at once, but this is another thing. So I personally believe that those session goals are very, very important. So I make sure to have them in each session. And I think they're important for another reason, not only focus and a sense of direction and making sure that everyone are aware of the story and that it progresses. I think that it's also a tool to make you as the DM understand that something is off with your campaign. When your session goals start to when session goals don't align well with your adventure and campaign goals, then you understand that you have a problem, right? If you created this great campaign, you have a campaign goal, you have an adventure goal, and the story, the players, pull the story into something completely different, then you'll see that the session goals start to diverge from the campaign and adventure goals. Now, I don't say that this is a bad thing. It's good when players take the story and make it something new. Actually, after all, we all are there to have fun. If we are having fun, then that's fine. The story doesn't matter, the campaign doesn't matter, the direction that the players want to go, that's a good thing. But it's an indication for you as the DM that something is off and you need to fix it by realigning the story to what the players want, or just by talking to them and asking, listen, we had this campaign in mind. Do you still want to pursue it, or are we building something else? And it's okay to go either way. The players can say, oh yeah, right, we totally forgot about it. You can use NPCs and you can use the tools that I gave you in the previous examples to realign the players, or you can realign the campaign goals to make it something that the players actually want to play. So I think that session goals can also be a good tool for you to understand that something is off with the campaign and you need to look into it. So this is it. Set goals. Don't make that common mistake of wandering in the fog. And I hope it will improve your games as much as it improved mine. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. I'm available. I'm reading the comments, so if you have any feedback, write it down. If you have any special requests, like something you want, a specific topic you want me to cover, or something you want me to discuss and expand on in this video or the next probably, let me know, and see you soon.